Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to the Star Ladder Pro Series Season 14 playoffs. This is going to be a best of three between Danish Bears and Team BK. I'm going to be your caster, Annie, aka Android, and I'm not alone for this one. I am being joined once again by the lovely Ted Casts. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a sunny day in the city, and it's a very nice day for Dota. And we've got some pretty interesting drafts already starting out right now. Uh, First and foremost, I want to point out I don't think I've seen an axe get played actually yet, and in a pro game or whatnot. But he gets picked up here, and I'm inclined to like it. It's a really good counter push to the Nature's Prophet, and it almost makes me wonder maybe we're going to see something really aggressive coming out from Danish Bears, potentially an aggressive duel or whatnot. Oh my God, it's an Alchemist as well. We're starting out with our noses to the grindstone with this draft.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the big boys on the field here. Alchemist probably going to be in that mid position, but that does give Team BK a lot of time to sit back and think what they want to do. They're going to pick up the Vengeful Spirit as 99% chance their support pick, and what great utility on this hero, able to swap everyone in and out of the fight so you can get someone away from Axe's Call if you need to, which is going to be a great tool to have.
I think what's really fantastic about the Vengeful Spirit pick is if they do want to run an aggressive axe, usually axes like to creep cut the wave. So the Vengeful Spirit with that minus armor in the lane is going to make it a little bit more difficult for the axe to go back and freely get through all of those creeps. Now, if they want to go aggressive, as we mentioned, we might be seeing Danish Bears come out with a Dazzle pick or an Abaddon pick or even an Omni Knight pick and try to go with the axe in that lane. But again, the minus armor is going to make it a little bit more difficult. Having that stun that deals a respectable amount of damage could be useful as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if BK, they probably are going to go with a ranged carry here more often than not. They might be able to get away with a Drow Ranger, but I'm not totally sure they'd want to do that unless they can shut the axe down very efficiently. Another hero that comes to mind is potentially the Morphling.
Yeah, I think Morphling could be successful here. Drow, I worry just because I don't know if she will come online quick enough to shred through the Alchemist and really give him a run for his money. So I think the Gyrocopter, the Morphling are going to be considered heroes here. Now, Danish Bears, they're going to need some supports here. So I'd love to see, if we're going all-out aggression, Skywrath Mage.
Oh my God, I don't want to see a Skywrath Mage. I really don't. Um, I, it could be good if you can go in and get the axe call, but every single time I see cheese strategies like that, the Skywrath and the Void or the Skywrath and the axe, it just feels like the Sky isn't going to have as much of an impact as he needs to have, especially considering if Anima.BK are thinking about going for the ranged carry. You really can't get away with a Skywrath Mage because he'll die in 2 or 3 hits. So they are going to go with a Slardar first and foremost. I think with a Nature's Prophet pick, this probably means it's going to be a carry Slardar, and that minus armor we talked about going to be fantastic here as well. But Danish Bears, they pick up the Dazzle that we mentioned, so this might be an aggressive lane, but with a Venge and a Slardar, it could be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, so we're going to have armor versus armor. Slardar's amplified damage versus Dazzle's weave. Is that comparable at all?
What do you mean? Dazzle's Weave is huge, but it's over time. I think Dazzle's Weave is one of the best minus armor spells in the game.
Alright, so the armor shouldn't be too much of an issue for Danish Bears. They're going to be A-okay here. And now going into their fourth pick, they still need, I guess, an offlaner, depending on where they're running the axe and the alch. Maybe a mid, maybe a secondary support. I don't know.
I don't think they'll try to run the Alchemist as a support. It it makes you wonder, yeah, what they're going to try to do with this Alchemist. And I don't want to say it's either a mid or support. I don't really like a mid axe, especially, or a mid Alchemist, especially considering he doesn't really win most mid matchups. But when you've got a Slardar on the field, you have to wonder that it's going to be an Alchemist that needs to farm. Otherwise, the Slardar is just going to rip right through him. Even if he is a core, the Slardar is going to have an easy time knocking down the Alch. So I I don't exactly know what they're going to do with this guy. If I were to put my money down on a roll, I'd say it would probably be either the mid or the carry. But I wouldn't be surprised if they try to run an aggressive dual tri-lane with the Alchemist being part of it.
Definitely a possibility here, and the fact that the Alchemist was picked up so early means mid laners, maybe not, because the Windrunner can get in there and counter. The Puck can be pretty fantastic. The Queen of Pain can be phenomenal at bursting down the Alch mid, so they gave BK a lot of time to sit back and consider the Alch pick. Do you think they should have waited till, getting close to last, because Alk really isn't a priority ban.
He actually is more of a priority ban than I think it would have been a week or so ago. I mean, didn't we cast yesterday where he got banned out 2 of the 3 games in the first ban phase?
Yeah,
So,
I guess so.
I mean, you let him pass the first pick phase, he's definitely going to get banned second. And, I mean, keep in mind that it's not just having an Alchemist as a farming core. We got a lot of Aghanim Scepter upgrades recently. So you always have to keep the Ags in mind, too, the fact that Alchemist can give that. Dazzle Ags is one of the scariest minus armor spells, if not the scariest minus armor spells in the game. And, I mean, you can't really scoff at the plus armor, too, which would help Alchemist and Axe immensely. Considering even if Axe gets a blade mail, the damage return comes pre-reduction. So he gets all of that damage reduction from the armor, while the enemy takes all of the damage they dealt.
That is going to be terrifying here, and, well, Danish Bears are definitely taking their time with this. I think we are paused here. Looks like Ace needs to reboot, so we're going to be waiting on Danish Bears to head back in. So we've got lots of time to talk the draft to death. Let's switch over to talking about Team BK. Slardar, Venge, Nature's Prophet. Slardar here, we've seen him run carry more times than not, although I do think he offers a lot in the offlane. Prophet, I mean, he'll get the job done, but up against what could be a very scary, very aggressive safe lane, will Prophet really get the most out of the lane?
Well, the unique thing about Prophet is he doesn't really need to care about how much he gets out of the lane. If the lane is going to be scary for him, then he'll do what he can to harass with the Treants, but for the most part, he'll most likely be spending most of his time ganking. You've got a Vengeful Spirit Slardar, 2 heroes that, at the flick of a switch, can go straight in and get incredibly aggressive, and all the Nature's Prophet has to do is global teleport to that position and join the fight. So he's also got a great ability to catch up on farming in the jungle if he needs to. So I'm not too worried if this is an offlane Nature's Prophet, if about him getting shut down in the offlane because of the ways he can come back into the game. I'm more worried of the fact whether or not the game's gonna go long enough for him to have a lasting impact, because he's got one of those power curves where for the first 15 minutes of the game he's a super aggressive rotator ganker. Then for the next 15 minutes he's a farmer split pusher. If he joins the fights, he just straight up dies and has 0 impact. If he stays and split pushes elsewhere, that's where he needs to thrive. But it takes quite a long time before he can join the fight again and have a very good impact. So if Danish Bears can shoot their aggression right smack dab in the middle of that drop in the power curve, then it's a real issue for them.
Speaking of issues, we have got the Space Scout here. That's going to be a very powerful initiation tool. So Danish Bears very much want to be the front lines. You're going to have Axe, blink in, call, get things going your way. You're going to have Dazzle, throwing the armor onto everyone, keeping them alive, and Spirit Breaker charging in like a madman. The synergy between Dazzle and Spirit Breaker is going to be phenomenal here. And Danish Bears going into their last pick, I'm guessing it's going to be roaming support Spirit Breaker, so they still do need, I guess, an offlaner. Mid or maybe on Alchemist. I don't know.
Yeah, it all comes down to how they're going to run these lanes, because it could still be. I mean, they've got a Dazzle Axe. It's most likely going to be an aggressive dual lane. Where the Alchemist goes, if they've got a Spirit Breaker, then I put the Alchemist either the solo safe or a solo mid. I am not exactly sure, but Spirit Breaker pick here is like the perfect counter to Nature's Prophet. I really like the pick just because it's 100% of the time the best way to deal with a split pushing Nature's Prophet. If they can keep him down in the lane, he's going to have no impact no matter what time of the game it is, and that's a real issue for them. Now, this all is reliant on the fact of whether or not the Vengeful Spirit of the Slardar or whoever else they draft is close by and ready to assist, but Anima.BK, they're going to grab themselves a Night Stalker. I'm not exactly sure I'm a fan of this pick, mostly because I'm not exactly sure where it's going to lane. I mean, you can run it mid, but I think the Night Stalker loses mid to Alchemist, just because Alchemist is a really aggressive melee laner. But if they are going to run him as an off lane, maybe we'll just see a jungling Nature's Prophet. I don't know if this fits. I really don't know if it fits. It's a decent hero. It gives you great vision. It gives you a lot of potential. I mean, the silence at nighttime is incredible, one of the best of the game. You can really put a stick in the spokes of the Danish Bear's aggression with just that mischance as well. Put it on the Alchemist. He can't pop Chemical Rage. Things like that are really important about the Night Stalker, but I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be able to get anything out of the lanes. And if he's a roamer ganker, well, he's useless at that role until the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do with him most likely. Put him in that 4 position, let Prophet do the offlane thing. But that means Vengeful Spirit will be locked into the 5 role, forced to buy wards, forced to buy very heavy support items. She'll be a little less available to go in and just make those plays, because she's going to have to go and soak as much XP and babysit as hard as she can. So Windrunner will be the final pick for BK. That's going to be their mid laner. So there is a lot of potential for rotations here. If BK's lanes aren't working out, everyone take a step to the left, throw the Night Stalker in the offlane, throw the Slider in the offlane, throw Prophet in the offlane. But with Darkseer picked up, oh man, it's going to be Ion Shells on the Spirit Breaker, Ion Shells on the Axe who blinks in and calls. I love Danish Bear's lineup.
What are their lanes?
I don't care.
See, that's a problem. I mean, if they have one really aggressive lane and the other 2 lose, then the game isn't exactly easy. Like, say they've got an Alchemist or an Axe, Darkseer, Dazzle off lane, right? And they get super aggressive and they win that lane. But the Wind Ranger demolishes the Alchemist mid, turns him into a non-factor, and the Nature's Prophet demolishes the Spirit Breaker off safe lane. It's not exactly a win if one lane wins and the other 2 lose. So, and they can easily move the Slardar away and then force Danish Bears to go into an awkward laning stage where they've got to chase the Slardar wherever they go and waste a lot of time. I don't know. There is a way to execute this perfectly, and I'm excited to see whether or not Danish Bears can do so. But for right now, again, awkward lanes, interesting laning stage can be coming out for at least the first 10 minutes of the game. From both teams even. I think Anima.BK, perhaps a little bit more obvious what their lanes are going to be.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into the action. Again, just as a recap, this is Game 1 of a best of 3 between Team BK and the Danish Bears in the Star Ladder Pro Series Season 14 playoffs. I am Annie, that's Ted Casts, and we can jump in and do some team introductions here. On the side of the Radiant, we have got Vengeful Spirit being played by some Russian characters. It's going to be U-Horn on the mid Windrunner. Looks like Loki's is going to be on the Night Stalker. All the way behind him, it's going to be Snedge on the Carry Slardar. And finally, sitting in base, we have got Spacey on the Nature's Prophet. How's Danish Bears looking?
Yeah, surprised you didn't take Danish Bears. It looks like they've got easier names, as we have Chocolat on the Darkseer with Rise playing the Dazzle. Noya is going to be playing the Spirit Breaker, charging around Bastion with Ping Vincent at his side on the Alchemist. And finally, Ace. They're Ace in the hole on the Axe. And actually, if you replace a C with the X, then his name is very similar to the hero he's playing. Just a little TED fact for you guys, in case you're interested.
I mean, 10 facts get me through the day, man. So the runes looks like they are going to be a 1-1 split. No one really wanted to go in for that. Chocolat scouts it out and does not want to get too greedy, so no action breaking out just yet. And, well, now, as the game starts, as the horn sounds, we will get to see what crazy lanes are going to come out of these teams.
And I think this is to be expected. It looked like originally they wanted to run that aggressive offlane, but they respond to the lanes of Anima.BK very well. Notice that the offlane could be a little bit too difficult for them with all that minus armor, so they move around, they throw the Axe as a solo safe. He should win the lane against Spacey quite easily, but that's considering Spacey, if he doesn't rotate and gank, can do what he needs to do. It's a dual lane mid, which will help Axe immensely against, or help Alchemist immensely against the Wind Ranger. This is entirely necessary, because otherwise the Alchemist will straight up lose this lane. So Rise, he'll go ahead, he'll stack up camps for the Alchemist, make that gold income huge, and also prevent the Alchemist from losing the lane.
Up top here, we've got Axe doing his best to deal with this wad of Treants. Axe does have that Helix leveled, so is that actually going to work in his favor? The more targets munching on him, the better chance he has just to whack them all down and get some clean, easy gold.
Yeah, I mean, he bought 2 Tangos, a Salve, and a Stout Shield. He'll do fine in this lane. Usually, a Treant or a Nature's Prophet will try to send this Treants to harass, but Spacey can't afford to do that. If he does, Axe or Ace will just burst them all down. And you can see, even with 1 Helix, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage just yet, but it will start to come out to be very respectable pretty soon. So Relatively quiet across the lanes. I'm surprised that they're throwing Noya in the off lane, but considering they have to get experience in the Spirit Breaker, it makes a little bit more sense. Neж should be fine in this off lane though. Like the only thing he's got to worry about is the Ion Shells, and even if with the Ion Shells, he's still be able to adequately get aggressive as a charge in. Roan might be in a bit of trouble. The Magic Missile coming out, but this could very well be first blood. In fact, yeah, Ion Shells going through. Noya gets the bash from a very long range, and they will bring down Roan, the Vengeful Spirit, becoming the first blood to spill on the ground.
Alright, that's going to be clean gold, clean XP going in favor of Danish Bears, and that's going to set them up for a nice thing here. You talked about Snedge being A-okay on the Slardar. Yeah, he's relatively tanky and he's got the regen, but is there any reason why Spirit Breaker and Darkseer can't keep doing that to the Venge?
To the Venge, no. There's no reason they can stop. I think it's going to be a fact of the matter of whether or not the Venge stays as aggressive as she was. I mean, she was in doing whatnot in the jungle. She really can't be doing that. So if she goes, she babysits Snedge, sits behind him, or goes and rotates the mid, or ganks anywhere, she'll be better spent. But she's got to not try to harass out Chocolat when the Spirit Breaker is ready to charge in. And considering Spirit Breaker is a little bit of ways, maybe she can go for it. But it looks like we'll just be a little bit more of the same for the bottom lane after that first blood.
Yeah, top lane once again. Axe doing pretty well in terms of farm here. He's got himself 7 last hits, but Prophet actually keeping pace with him, so I'm surprised he's getting that much out of the lane and not really losing a lot here. Oh, bottom lane. There's a charge in, and Chocolate getting kind of low here, will be trying to run away, does have that surge ready to go if needed. Now Snedge actually quite low. The bash will not proc on Noya just yet. They're chasing down. Seems like they can't really pick a target. They're getting Snedge and Venge very low, but now everyone's kind of lacking on mana, and no one really wants to make the full commitment.
Yeah, this is very important, the fact that the Slardar is this tanky. I mean, he doesn't have the greatest regen. It's being helped out by having that Mango in his inventory, but it's still enough to be able to sit up, tank an early level Ion Shell, and still get the...
Good crush, man.
Yeah, that was looked like more of a desperation crush than anything. Like, God dang it, I can't get these last hits.
Did he get the last hit with it, or was it just kind of like...
No, it was in the middle of nowhere. I have no idea what his plan was there, but I guess... giving the enemy a little bit of an added advantage, maybe giving himself a handicap by having no mana. Cool thing about this... Oh, we actually have an attempt here. Spacey could be going down to Ace. They're both getting very low. The ticks. Is the last click going to be enough? No. Ace, he'll survive through it. The Treant, it just needs one more tap, but it goes down. Oh, man. Ace barely walking away from this, and he's got fantastic base regen. With a couple of tangos at the ready, he should be getting himself right back up to a respectable amount of HP very soon. That's a very nice kill, though, for Danish Bears to get. And with Rise now invisible, trying to go in for a gank on to Ehorn. Looks like nothing's going to come out of that for now. Bottom lane, chasing down Chocolat. Snedge just marking his territory.
Alright, one important item pickup to note. Maybe it's because I am just a terrible little pub player here, but Axe has opted to go for Phase Boots. Is that really going to give him enough mobility to start things off before he gets his blink, or do you think Tranquils may have been the better option?
Usually, I'm a fan of the Tranquils, but only in a lane where he's not like hard pressed to farm. As okay, this is a kill that really shouldn't be happening right now. I guess first nighttime we really should have been keeping a better eye on Lopez, who's staying relatively low key in this game, getting a kill right there though.
God, Ted Fack.
Yeah, but man, he's gonna go in again now onto Rise. The silence out, but there actually is no shallow grave. Rise is still level 1. That'll be a power shot flying through. Lopez will get his second kill, and now he's got an Urn of Shadows completed at 5.5 minutes. He is going to be looking really good right now. Having the Iron Talon's going to help him jungle up whatever he needs to when the nighttime does end, but he doesn't have to stop. He can go back into the mid lane very soon and maybe try to bring down Pin Vinsec again. We'll have to see exactly when that's going to be possible as a charge onto Snedge in the bottom lane. He's got about 200 HP right now, as we'll come under a little bit of a pause. Top, Ace getting pretty low to Spacey. Bottom, Snedge in a little bit of trouble. Mid, I don't think Pink Vincent is in any real danger, but we got to be careful of low keys coming in for the gank. We have a potential for a very explosive next couple of minutes.
Yeah, man, I am keeping my finger right on the minimap here, ready to jump around. I think the real action might come out top here as Spacey. He's sitting there. He does have the Sprout ready to go onto Ace, who does not have any way to get out of that. So there could be some nice right clicks traded out onto the Axe. Meanwhile, down bottom, Slardar, he's very low. He's got a little bit of mana. He's got that Mango to gobble it up, but he might have to play this one safe. If he goes up to try to farm the wave, I think he could end up getting picked off by the Spirit Breaker and friends. And another important player on the field here is Uhorn, who now did pick up that double damage rune in the bottle, so we'll see if she wants to head back to mid or wants to rotate down bottom, maybe keeping Snedge safe and perhaps punishing the Spirit Breaker.
I'm actually 90% sure Spacey's dead.
Spacey's dead. Axe doesn't have a blink.
Axe just popped his phase boots. Spacey needs to take some time to turn around and then walk away. All Ace has to do is get a call out. 3 helixes should be enough to bring him, actually maybe even 2 should be enough to bring him down to within Culling Blade range, and Ace has full mana. Like, I am 90% sure Spacey's dead right now.
Alright, we'll have to see, as we are just waiting for, I'm not quite sure. There's just a pause. No one has really justified it yet. We'll see when we hop on back in here. But we do have a brief moment to talk about item pickups. It's 6 minutes in the game, so nothing huge coming out just yet. Profit going for that first item, Blightstone, and we see that a lot on the range right clickers. Is that going to build into a Desolator, or is it just that nice casual armor burn for now?
Well, remember what happened in the recent patch. Armor values or armor types got reworked, so Spacey, or any jungler really that relies on minions, has a lot harder of a time because their minions do less damage to jungle creeps. So picking up that Blightstone is more of a value pick so that they can go and jungle at equal speeds as we're coming in. I want to keep an eye on this top lane. Looks like it might be... Oh, no, he turns around, he stops!
Meanwhile, down bottom, the charge will continue through. Noya, he wants to go through, but how deep will he go? Snedge gets bashed up. Can they get the 70% proc? Crush comes through. Snedge, living with just a fraction of health. One punch from the Darkseer will take him out. Now, Vengeful Spirit could be in some trouble. She's got her missile. Charge up in 2 seconds. Do they want to reinitiate onto this? Looks like Spirit Breaker is Ion Shell ticking low. They don't really want to risk this, so... Man, that was a beautiful crush by the Slardar, but the sprint on the Darkseer really made it all come together.
Ion Shell charges, that tends to happen. I don't think there's any way he was getting out there. I'm really surprised at what happened top, but it looks like after we went down to the bottom lane, by the way, there was a gank attempt coming out from Lopez as he makes his move up there and almost brings down Ace, but doesn't end up getting it as Ace was able to get the TP out. Now,
he's still hunting.
Lopez, he's looking for Ping Vinsec, but these are just stacks going on right now. Lots of stacks. Actually, another... no, they didn't get the hard camp, but... And with the Acid Spray, Pin Vincent might have a little bit less experience from this, but he certainly should get all the gold. Lopez and Uhorn are making their move, and they want Ping Vincent now. They're going to go in. Void probably going to come out pretty soon. They're waiting for now. The Void actually goes on to Rise as Noya, getting shackled but not latching to a tree, will continue to chase down. Ace gets a double call. Uhorn dropping very low, but not within Culling Blade range. Lopez, though, he might drop to it very soon. It looks like Pin Vincent doesn't really care right now. He's just going back to farming, trusting his supports to get this kill. And it looks like they will. A double bash for Noya will be able to grab that kill. Uhorn surviving, but now all of this gold has been secured for Ping Vinsec. And he should have no trouble getting all of it. The Armlet actually being completed for him first. 1,000 gold and climbing fast. He's going to have a good time getting his next item. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Chocolat, Magic Missile out, Snedge chasing down. There is a charge coming through, though. Noya moving in, but Chocolat's pretty much dead. The Fairy Fire keeping him alive, but Rowan comes around the back lines. We'll be able to finish off that kill. Noya with a haste rune gets away alive. No real trouble for him, but a valiant attempt to save his buddy, unfortunately, will come up fruitless.
Well, he's still hasted up. Looks like Noya may be trying to find something here. No mana for the charge. And, Magic Missile actually connecting long range. They go with the crush. Noya may get punished here underneath his own tier 1 tower. Yep. He goes down. Just got a little bit too greedy trying to get XP from the wave.
Don't try to stay close when you've got amplified damage on and Vengeful Spirits were ready to stun. I mean, there's so much physical damage coming out from these two, and you can even see with the amplified damage on Chocolat, he tried to cut the creep wave a little bit, and ended up taking a little more damage than he expected. This is the power of that safe lane Slardar. Usually offlaners, come level 6, have a very tough time staying alive if there's any setup stun for the Slardar. So, very typical, the fact that the offlaner dies there.
There's going to be a charge coming through onto Snedge. I doubt they're going to take this one to completion.
Gotta cancel this.
Oh, or just die. It looks like he goes in just a little bit too deep. Vengeful Spirit does not have the missile. She is going to go with the swap instead. Trying to get the positioning here. Snedge does have that crush, but he needs to catch up. And looks like he's just not fast enough as Noya does have the charge now. Does he want to reinitiate? Very aggressive play from the Spirit Breaker. I thought he learned his lesson, but now with Ace walking in, they might be able to go in for this now. Snedge, he's going to be waiting here, playing this one safe, going in with the amplified damage onto Noya. And I think this might be where the fight ends. Axe, he's definitely looking for some sort of jump, but he opted to go Vanguard first instead of Blink, so he just doesn't have that really powerful initiation tool.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing about the Vanguard is you can have all the minus armor in the world. The damage block still pretty much makes up for it. So you can see he's creep cutting, doing exactly what he needs to do to make the Vanguard worth it. As Noya, yep, he could be in a bit of trouble. They get the call there.
Buddy.
Low keys, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. It is nighttime, though. The vision's reduced. The shackle catches Noya. He's in the middle of trees, so it really isn't that surprising. In comes the Wrath of Nature, doing a respectable amount of damage. As they swap back, the call in. Spacey, he's locked in and attacking, but the shackle lands on Ace, who's still spinning. He's tangling himself further. They will get that kill. A 2-0 with the gank coming in from U-Horn. A beautiful one at that. As, well, that is also an arcane rune, so he makes his way right back to mid and might even be able to bring down Rise, given a good shackle.
Yeah, that was, I think, Dire just really going in, playing like they absolutely had the upper hand, but you had Noya, the Spirit Breaker, that was only level 4 or 5, crawling around under the tier 1 tower with a Night Stalker with ultimate. It seemed like they just were a little bit too foot on the gas pedal and didn't stop to think about the consequences.
Alright, we're 11 minutes in. This Alchemist is getting very close to having an armlet and a Radiance completed. I really don't have any words for this now. He's doing fantastic. Yep, bottom lane charge in. Noya going on to Snedge. They might get this kill. Snedge is a little bit too tanky, though. He's got a crush in 2 seconds. Meanwhile, Ace is trying to bring down Rowan. Gets it with the Culling Blade. And now we'll put out the Battle Hunger onto Snedge. He goes for the call, but no. In comes the Culling Blade. Chops him down. Ace could see this one through to the end here as he might go down. The power shot through into the trees. The only valid path for him to take. And now a Sprout, but Noya is able to cut himself free. Will walk away from the Triage, chasing down and blood in their claws, but not quite enough to get the kill. 7-6, 11.5 minutes. Not quite as aggressive as I thought the game would be, but still, fights like that breaking out give it a nice action-packed flair.
Slardar for Axe, what's the exchange rate on that? Is that good, bad?
Good.
Good.
Slardar is the 1 position core for Anima.BK. Axe is more of a 2, maybe 3 for Danish Bears.
Alright, so that's a worthwhile trade there for the Danish Bears, and you know, this lane, there's so much aggression down here in the bottom, but it seems like they've really got to start putting their eyes on this Alchemist here. Like you mentioned, he is getting eerily close to that Radiance, which now he picks it up. It's going to be flying out to him very shortly, so that's really, really scary. If we switch over to net worth, he has almost 10,000 net worth here at 12 minutes in the game.
Yeah, this is close to a 1,000 GPM. I mean, this is one of the scariest things about an Alkin. I'm pretty sure Anima.BK, they're like, wait a sec, guys, we haven't seen the Alchemist in 5 minutes. If you assume that every minute he's pulled about 1,000 gold out of the map, which is a valid assumption to make, then they're probably like, oh shit, he probably has his Radiance completed, which he does, and now things get very, very hairy for Anima.BK. I mean, you consider 12 minutes time, having an armlet and a Radiance. There is no other hero that can pull that kind of farm. It doesn't matter who it's on. Alchemist being a very squishy target. The armlet, of course, making up for a lot of that squishiness. Once that Radiance comes out, I almost imagine that Ping Vincent is going to go in, drive down the middle lane, drive down the top lane, whichever, make his choice. And then we're going to see the tier 1s drop like flies on the side of Anima.
I totally just poured a tea bag onto my face. That was unfortunate. But now we're going to get back into the game here. Vengeful Spirit just going to bump into Noya, who's going to go and punish right away. Ace here, no mobility on that dude just yet. Holding onto the call. There we go. Call coming in. Now Loki's wants to go in, but the Culling Blade flies through. The power shot connects onto Ace, but there's no follow-up for the Radiant. Vengeful Spirit going into some dangerous territory without vision and just figures out the hard way that the Dire heroes are very willing to punish.
Yep, and now the Radiance has been called out too. So Anima.BK has their work cut out for them doing any sort of punishment right now. Ping Vince is actually going to go ahead and continue farming up right now. We've got an Ancient stack and the Dire side, which Ace is happy enough to take. He gets a little bit of gold for himself. And Ping Vince is just going ahead and farming up the jungle. I mean, there's no real stopping the Alchemist right now unless they can plan a 5-man excursion and to stop this, which is a very risky plan considering Danish Bears have a great way of counter-initiating that. So right now, Anima.BK, their best bet is to try to get as much on the starter as possible, because when Danish Bears decide it's time to start fighting, Snedge is going to be their one glimmer of hope to bring down the Alchemist in a decent amount of time.
Alright, we haven't talked a whole lot about Spacey on the Nature's Prophet, and his job as an offlaner was just kind of absorb what Axe is thrown at him, but now he's got some free time here, he's got 1,000 gold in the bank.
Oh, hold on, there's a swap back. Noya getting crushed, and okay, he just gets completely melted. That minus armor proving to be a little bit too much. I mean, I've never seen a Spirit Breaker, a relatively tanky hero, go down and 2 right clicks. And that's exactly what the Wave of Terror and Amplified Damage does to you. So they really need to get Rise out and getting some armor on them to help prevent things like that from happening. But it seems like right now, Anima.BK are doing a decent job at finding pickoffs where they need to and stopping Danish Bears from getting all-out aggressive. But again, they've got a ticking time bomb right now that they've got to deal with very soon, because if they don't, 20 minutes of the game between minute 20 and minute 40 are going to be the worst hell for them to deal with.
Yeah, and that threat is becoming more present every single minute now. Mid lane looks like it will be circled up. Maybe something's going to happen here with Rise and the Dazzle and Chocolate. He's sitting here. He actually has not opted to skill his wall just yet. Level 8, holding on to it till he feels like the team fights are going to be a little bit more prevalent, opting to instead finish off that Ion Shell, get a couple more points in the Surge. So what do you think of that? Do you think it's okay to hold on to the wall for just a little bit longer?
Yeah, it's... You usually don't want to skill up wall until you have at least 3 or 4 points in vacuum, because wall without vacuum is pretty much useless right now. A well-placed wall is not nearly as powerful as what it needs to be without any sort of way of forcing the enemy to go through it. I mean, consider you have to actively walk through the wall for it to be effective, and it's in that scenario probably one of the worst ultimates in the game. Without, as they go in, they get the call on Lopez, there's a double Ion Shell burning him down, and it doesn't take long. The Shackle, it really looked like it should have connected on Noya, but it really doesn't. So Ace and Noya will get away relatively unscathed. They make their way to the mid, a call in. This is a blink from Ace making that call possible, but they're not able to bring Rome back far enough. He actually willingly goes back to get the swap onto Chocolat. They've got Noya coming in, though, to stop Snedge from getting aggressive here. They go in with another strike, and now Snedge going to get cold to pieces. Just a pile of blood remaining where that fish once stood. Roan now getting chased down. The Ion Shell burning away, taking him down, and he will get brought away. Meanwhile, Uhorn goes down to Ping Vince by the top rune. Noya still chasing, goes in for the charge onto Spacey, but won't be able to complete it as Danish Bears, they make their way into the mid, 3 up on the kills, and now going to be a tower more for their side.
That was a pretty sizable gold lead in favor of the Danish Bears. Now 16 minutes in the game, the overall XP has plummeted in favor of the Dire. Net worth, similar story, although Danish Bears have been holding the lead pretty steadily throughout the game, but now we're ticking towards the 7,500 advantage point. Looks like we will cross it right now, even edging towards 10,000 net worth favoring Danish Bears, and Alchemist is holding on to such a huge portion of that net worth here. He's doubling up the Nature's Prophet and the Windrunner. How do they put the brakes on this guy?
They kill him. That's exactly like time spent dead.
He's got a Manta.
Time spent dead for an Alchemist is probably 50 to 70% more troublesome than any other hero that spends dead. Maybe Anti-Mage can give him a run for his money there, but you have to kill this Alchemist. Like, there is no way of getting around it. Group up, smoke up, get into his jungle and try to kill him. You know he's going to be there. You know he's going to be farming. It's such a risk to do it, but you need to put a stop to him, and there is no other way to do it. You try to go and you try to ward his jungle, then he goes to another lane and he farms. He's just such a great hero, especially with Manta and especially with Boots of Travel. As BK, they're going to go and try to do the opposite. They're going to go and try to kill everyone else on his team. They pop out with the darkness. But there's just no one for them to find. Maybe they get chocolate, they'll latch into a tree. Noya's going to come through. He's actually also dead. So there is a weave that has popped down, maybe going to help out a bit, but A's taking so much minus armor. He actually wasn't in the initial weave. Pink Vince, he gets swapped back, but he's joined the fight. Snedge getting burned away. He will stay alive, though. Ace getting shackled, but not latching. The Grave helping him alive, but no. He will eventually go down as Pink Vince chopping, slapping, doing what he can, and bringing down a double, maybe even getting a triple. He'll go in for U-Horn, who's trying to walk away here, wind run away, but no. Pink Vince loses the vision. So he will only sit with a double kill, but 3,000 gold on top of a Manta Radiant. I mean, I could list all of his items. It's just fantastic, the amount of gold he's had. He's surpassed 1,000 GPM right now. Or, okay, he's very close to passing 1,000 GPM, probably about 980. This is exactly where you do not want the enemy Alchemist to be.
And it's not like we're 40 minutes in at the peak of his farming potential. We are 20 minutes in. I've seen games like this with Alchemists that have barely one item, let alone 4. So he's going to get larger than life. I mean, he is larger than life here. Just this net worth chart looks absurd. Now a charge coming through. Started off by Noya. They're going to go into the Night Stalker. It's daytime, but rotations from the Radiant. That might be the end goal here. Noya may have to give his life, but they are rotating in the rest of the Dire Heroes. Going through. Oh, it's a trap. Stunning every which way. As now Vengeful Spirit, she's stuck in. There will be a nice weave from the Dazzle, but it's not going to be enough as Pink Vinsec is just huge. Going through, starting a dominating streak. He is in that Chemical Rage, so he's healing up really well. Now Snedge going to be caught out here. Nice call from the Axe. There's going to be dunks every way, and it looks like they will get the kill onto the Slardar. Now Shackle holding Ace in place to Noya, but Pink Vinsec, he's still chasing down one punch. Kills off the Windrunner, now going into Loki's as well. He does have that Void, if he, or the Crippling Fear if he needs it. The Void still on cooldown. The charge coming through, not even needed. Looks like he will just burn. Spirit Breaker ends up getting the credit for that kill, and now the tier 2 tower going to be very heavily under siege. They're most likely going to be able to take this, easily burning down the wave, letting the creeps come to them. They're going to be rotating here top, maybe, to deal with Spacey, but no, Spacey's just content pushing on this tier 1, but they may have to come back to defend tier 3s momentarily.
Yeah, Pink Vince tried to go to the top lane because he knew that's exactly where he was going to get the most farm, but Spacey does a good job at getting rid of the creep he was traveling to, so very well played from him. Pink Vincent's going to have a Mjolnir pretty soon. Actually, he's probably got enough to complete it right now. No, did he sell? Looks like he won't be going for Mjolnir. Look, he was about to, but no, I think I was looking at Spacey. Never mind.
Oh, let's see a Rapier. It's going to be a terrible item, but I want to see it.
He's not going to go Rapier here. There's no way. Probably an Assault Cuirass, if anything.
Oh, Octarine. That's going to be even more regen, even more sustainability. It's going to be really, really hard to kill the Alchemist. Let's say you're the shot caller for BK. What chain of command do you have to get off in order to take this guy down?
I think at this point you don't. Like, if you catch him alone, then maybe you kill him. But, yeah, leaving an Alchemist is the hardest thing to do, because you know he's going to have a lot of farm. But think of it this way. Alchemist doesn't outcarry Slardar, and though he'll get to the point where he's 6-slotted faster, it's still a hero that, if going up against a Slardar who's relatively farmed, he will still melt. So I think right now, the call that Anima needs to make is they've got to just get Snedge as much farm as possible. Do whatever they can to stop the action for the next 15-20 minutes, prevent Danish Bears from pushing. And you can see, they picked up a Midas on Snedge. They recognize that they need him to farm. They need him to get a lot of gold out. And I think this is going to come at maybe trying to bait Danish Bears at trying to find pickoffs rather than push, which is going to be a very risky play, but hey, it may work.
Spacey pushing up pretty aggressively here. This is going to be going into the jaws of the Alchemist, taking an unstable concoction. Now Noya follows up with the charge. They got just enough to whack him down, so Spacey actually just playing way too far up. Now Ace will go through. He does end up taking a Void, and they're going to be continuing the push here as Pink Vinsec, he wants to go in. He really wants to make it happen. He's going to stun himself with the unstable concoction. No! Dodging it out with the Manta style. This guy knows exactly how to Alch. So evidenced by his play. And now a tier 1 tower goes his way. More and more gold. He is completely spiraling out of control, almost tripling up the worth of Nature's Prophet, the second highest on the net worth chart.
Yeah, this is why Alchemist is a second round ban. I mean, the amount of gold this guy pulls in is huge. Again, the reason why he's not the perfect overpowered hero is because he doesn't outcarry nearly anyone. and he's pretty easy to shut down in lane. But they just weren't able to do so because of the amount of babysitting that Danish Bears were able to exert. And Rise, I mean, taking one for the team was level 1. Actually, we got a big fight coming out, so hold that thought as Shakala dropping very low. They've got the shallow grave on him, though. He's trying to stay alive. Will be force-staffed over or somehow over to the cliff. And he might get away from this one alive. It looks like, yeah, he will. Ping Vince does come in, though, and tries to stop the fight. It looks like he tried to manta away from the stun, but wasn't able to do so. But this is just going well in favor of Danish Bears. They weren't able to get anything from that one. Again, I think they're just trying to bait out Danish Bears wasting time, but Snej was in that fight. Or at least Snej got brought down elsewhere. And that's...
Snej was killed way over here in this little jungle area, took a charge right to the face and just immediately punished. Now, you've got Pink Vincic just whacking on these towers, does not give a damn about tower shots here. He is so tanky. He's got the Octarine, the Radiance, he's got the Chemical Rage. Nothing can hurt this guy, and, you know, your solution to the Alchemist problem is just let him lie, but, I mean, he's not sitting back anymore. He's going in aggressively. Now, Ace could get caught out here. He's stuck in the spread. He will get crushed up, but again, just the Ages. They're going to go ahead, bring in the Unstable Concoction. It stuns up the Vengeful Spirit. 1 hit, 2 hits. She should be down. She may end up just burning here, trying to get out. She does end up falling to the axe. Now, on the backlands, you show off the new Shiva's Guard, getting everyone kind of know now. Snej, he could be going down here, pops the armlet for a little extra HP, gets a nice crush, keeping himself alive for now from the low ground. You've got Noya taking a lot of damage on the backlands. Slardar does end up falling to the godlike Ping Vincic, who... we'll see if he wants to end up, okay, he's just kind of getting cocky, standing there, a damaged sponge. He's enjoying the dazzle, healing him up from behind. At this point, do you just tap out?
No. I mean, again, you can still rely on them making a mistake that allows you to take it to the late game. It's a little bit too early to call. Once they get 2 sets of racks down, though, yeah, it's pretty safe to tap out. 1, maybe even then, but they might actually just die here before they even lose another set of racks, because Spacey getting called, burning down the Fountain regen will help him out. The swap, bringing Ace up onto the high ground, but Rowan taking very low here. He will finally get brought down, though getting the kill on the Ace was pretty good for Anima.BK. They're still losing their racks. Maybe if Loki's and Euyhorn can bring down Ping Vincent, they get the shackle off, but their damage isn't quite there. The amplified damage now out, but the crush gets baited out or dodged by the Manta style. Now Snej dropping very low, the vacuum, the wall. Vacuum being more of a player there. As a double kill for Shakola, and Ping Vince is laying into the racks. There we go. That's the GG call. Wait for the racks and then tap it out. So 26 minutes in, an Alchemist with well over 1,000 GPM. What a game from Danish Bears, and what a play.
Yeah, the net worth lead was over 1,000 per minute. It ended up being somewhere around 27,000 gold in favor of the Danish Bears. So again, this is going to be game 1 of a best of 3, so don't go too far. We're going to hop into game number 2. What do Team BK have to do next game in order to get themselves a foothold in the series?
Ban out the Alchemist.
Alright, I guess we'll have to see here. We're going to be going heading right into the next lobby. We'll throw it back to the match screen for a little bit. So again, no one go too far here. Stick around on Star Ladder 9 and we'll be right back as soon as we can.